Yo, YouTube, what's up? What's up? It's your boy CJ back with another video. Today we're reacting to five more horrible ways animals can end you. I'm not gonna waste no time like usual. Hit that sub button if you're new, and let's get to it.
Yep, because obviously one part just wasn't enough. I'm gonna make this real quick because I want to get right to the trauma. Earlier we talked about 10 of the worst ways animals can put a 404 on your birth certificate. That video is going to be in the description in case you want to get caught up. But there were some pretty notable animals missing from the video, and half of that was on purpose so I'd have enough ammo for a part 2. The other half was honestly just me forgetting. So here's 5 more terrifying ways nature can put you under a headstone, and once again viewer discretion is very much advised. And it's especially advised for one of the animals on here. You'll know it when you see it. All that out the way, let's get to the content. It's no secret that having an Australian area code really means agreeing to live life on veteran difficulty. And it's not just that everything with a heartbeat down there has the power to cancel yours. It's the way they can do it. Get too close to a cassowary and you run the risk of getting violently disemboweled. Play with a platypus and you might just find out that Perry's armed with an incapacitating venom more powerful than morphine. The blue ring octopus was actually one of the animals in a previous video because not only is it one of the most venomous things in the ocean, it's also small enough for you not to feel its toxic bite. Which is why out of all the nonsense in the land down under, this tiny octopus is what you should be the second most afraid of. The reason it's second is because this thing still exists. The Australian box jellyfish is the most venomous thing in the ocean, which obviously makes it one of the most venomous things in nature. They're armed with a crippling toxin potent enough to turn you into a statistic in as little as 2 minutes. And that's because its venom is a neurotoxin that attacks ion channels in muscles, causing them to contract but not release. When those muscles happen to be in the heart, that's what can cause victims to go into cardiac arrest. There have been cautionary tales of people being stung by box jellies while swimming and not even having enough time to make it to shore. The reason the box jellyfish is so disrespectful with its venom is because it's specifically designed to incapacitate its struggling prey before they have a chance to snap its tentacles. I call them the biggest middle finger to Australia because they're the polar opposite of blue rings. The blue ring's deadly bite may be painless, but those rings it's named after are designed to warn you before you even have a chance to get that close. Which means the only way this octopus can be a threat is if you're crazy enough or dumb enough to hold one. Box jellyfish give zero warning. They're virtually impossible to notice until you feel the immobilizing agony that comes with the sting. If you accidentally brush up,
I wouldn't even go anywhere near a body of water where something like that exists. Like if they told you that that could sting you on shore or near shore, first of all, why are you leaving the shore? Like I'm not leaving shore. I don't care if I was Michael Phelps. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Like you tweaking. If that's in there, why would you do that? Like I just don't get it.
Up against those tentacles, thousands of sting cells blast microscopic harpoons into your skin, which is how the venom gets to you. Victims have said getting stung feels a lot like getting branded with a hot iron, which makes sense, because that's exactly what the scars look like. Even if you survive, it can still give you the world's most painful tattoo, and if you're what the scars look like.
God damn.
Even if you survive, it can still give you the world's most painful tattoo, and if you're really unlucky, a nasty case of necrosis. And if that wasn't horrific enough, one species managed to take it a step further. The Irukandji jellyfish is roughly the size of a penny, yet it's somehow the most intimidating animal Australia has to offer. Its venom has been said to be 100 times worse than a cobra's and 1,000 times more toxic than a tarantula.
It's that small? Oh my. Why would you go anywhere near water like that? Anywhere near water with animals like that. You feel me? You cannot be dead ass. You can't be dead ass. You just can't be. You can't be. There's no way.
Tarantulas. And because its venom is also a neurotoxin, symptoms can include crippling pain, vomiting, severe muscle cramps, escalating all the way to brain hemorrhaging, heart failure, and eventually a flatline. This tiny jellyfish can essentially destroy you from the inside, and since it can also put you in a comatose state almost indistinguishable from death, it basically turns you into the living dead. I'm not saying this homicidal sperm cell can cause a zombie apocalypse, but I am saying you do want to be ready. Which is why State of Survival lets you see how you do in a full-scale I Am Legend type zombie apocalypse. It's free to play and available on both Apple and Google App Stores.
That's fire.
And for a limited time, anyone that's able to upgrade to a level 6 unlocks the Joker feature. Yeah, That the Joker. This feature lets you fight against his army of laughing zombies in the arena of doom. In terms of just gameplay, there's multiple game modes like PvP and PvE. I prefer PvP, but only because I can't be truly satisfied winning unless I'm actively screwing someone else over. There's also the Explorer Trail option that lets you venture out into unknown areas and commit genocides on waves of zombies. And you're the good guy here, so it's justified. Download Seder Survival using the link in the description and use the code CASUALGOSOS to redeem an in-game starter pack that you don't want to miss. Downloading with the link also gives you a chance to earn several $50 Amazon gift cards, which to me isn't a bad deal. But what is a bad deal is if you manage to come into contact with this jellyfish. Because one of the symptoms of Irukandji syndrome is an overwhelming feeling of doom. Some victims will reportedly be so sure they were going to die that they would beg the doctors to put them out of their misery permanently.
Oh my god.
And that's because the venom can cause a release of catecholamine, one of the things responsible for your flight or fight response, which makes this jellyfish one of the few animals that can bend you over psychologically as well as physically. Basically, it puts the fear of God in you to the point where you want to go meet him. That being said, with immediate medical attention, your chances of getting put on the news by a box jelly are surprisingly low. Doesn't change the fact that an estimated 50 to 100 people lose the lottery to this hellspawn each year. And because of the nature of the symptoms, that number could very well be higher and the deaths either go unreported or get falsely attributed to something else. The worst part is you will almost never see it coming, unlike the next animal.
That's even worse. You just swimming, vibing with your friends, family, girl, man, whoever you with. You feel me? Next thing you know, you just feel like crap. What did he say the symptoms were again? I forgot. But yeah, like that's crazy.
A few comments from the previous video questioned why I left big cats off the list, and honestly the answer is pretty simple. Cats are nature's perfect little killing machines, but because they're not pack hunters like hyenas or wild dogs, they have to put their prey out of commission before they eat it. This minimizes the risk of injury and allows them to carry their prize to a much more secluded spot, which means most big cats will mercy murk their prey with a quick but critical bite to the windpipe. But of course, there has to be an exception to every rule. Roll the clip.
Look at this strong ass goddamn cat.
Jaguars are the only big cats that put their prey out of commission with a crushing bite directly through the skull. Jaguars are basically the bull sharks of cats. They're not the biggest or the most notorious, but pound for pound they're the strongest with the most devastating bite. A jaguar's max bite force has been estimated to be in a range from 13 to 1500 pounds per square inch. That mouthpiece is not only strong enough to evict a turtle from its shell, but it produces enough force to puncture the skull and even pierce the brain. This method is enough to one-shot virtually anything in its area code, from capybara to caiman, and they've even been known to rip the cranial cap off of animals as tanky as the tapir, which can weigh over 800 pounds. Jaguars are ambush hunters that catch bodies by disabling their prey before they even have a chance to react, which is why a full-grown caiman with a brain the size of a walnut has virtually no shot.
That's a thick ass cat. I ain't gonna hold you. You feel me? Like, you feel me? Like the cat kind of fat. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, you feel me, my guy? Yeah, y'all see what I'm talking about? Like, ain't that cat kind of fat?
Shot against a motivated vice grip with whiskers. And since
Pause. Delete your comment. Stop typing. Delete your comment.
Jaguars primarily puncture the temporal bones of the skull, they essentially punch holes in your head by biting between the ears. And because jaguars are as comfortable catching life sentences in water as they are on land, they're South America's all-terrain assault weapons. If a jaguar wants your name off the census, you're not even a person, you're a walking corpse at that point. But spoiler alert, jaguars don't even have the worst bite on this list. This snake is naturally shy, non-aggressive, and would much rather slither away from confrontation. It's when it feels cornered that the bum sling shows you why it's one of the most venomous snakes to ever live. This sub-Saharan serpent is armed with hemotoxin-riddled venom,
like
which contains anticoagulants that limits the body's ability to form blood clots, which is how this introvert of a snake can cause fatal hemorrhaging in tissues in muscles and the brain, causing you to bleed into an obituary.
You fucking bozo.
If left untreated, the bite from a bum sling can cause you to bleed from virtually every orifice, including the eyes, nose, gums, and even the anus. Internal and external bleeding aside, there's two main reasons why this snake is a cell block D level menace. Number one is the lethal dose of the venom itself. It's been said that the amount of bumsling venom needed to introduce you to your ancestors is one of the lowest of any snake. Number two is because of the very nature of snakes. Venom is physiologically expensive to make, so snakes will often deliver dry bites when they don't want to inject venom. It's how they get their point across without wasting precious venom on a non-life-threatening situation. You're probably wondering how not releasing venom is a bad thing, and here's where nature shows you how much of a female dog she really is. Bumslang venom is slow-acting, and it can take the victim several hours to feel the effects. This can cause victims to falsely assume the bite was dry and to not seek medical attention as urgently as they should. By the time you're bleeding out of your ass and eyes, you're already on the waitlist to the cookout in the clouds. And without anti-venom, a complete blood transfusion could be the only thing keeping you from a box in the ground. In 1957, herpetologist Carl Smith was bitten by a young juvenile bumslang, but he didn't immediately seek medical attention because he assumed the baby snake couldn't produce the lethal dose. You could probably guess how that movie ended. Instead of getting to a hospital, Dr. Schmidt recorded all of his symptoms after being envenomated. All of them, except for the last one. That day, Dr. Schmidt became past tense, likely at the hands of internal excessive bleeding, all because of one mistake. Had he been rushed to a hospital and received anti-venom, he might have lived long enough to learn his lesson. Lucky for us, the bumslang is timid and afraid of people, and for all its toxicity, it has a surprisingly low body count, believed to be only responsible for less than 10 deaths. Unlike the next animal, which has a body count not in the hundreds, not thousands, but likely in the millions.
Oh my god. What was this one?
If I made a poll asking what the most dangerous animals in Africa are, some answers might include hyenas, the always homicidal hippopotamus, of course you can't forget the lion, and heavyweights like the African elephant, rhinoceros, and Cape buffalo might also make an appearance. And if you're an intellectual, you might say the mosquito since they co-author more death certificates than any other animal. But we know how much of a menace mosquitoes are. Most people don't think the same of this fly, and that's exactly why they're here. The tsetse fly is one of the most murderous things alive, believed to have a human hit rate of, at the minimum, 10,000 bodies a year. It's a parasite that feeds on the blood of others, and like the mosquito, that makes it the perfect vector for a handful of nasty diseases. The nightmare starts when an infected tsetse fly passes on the parasite Trypanosoma to an unknowing human. Once that parasite turns your body into an Airbnb, it shuts you down from the inside. Being the landlord to this parasite can mean heart problems, kidney failure, anemia, and if you're pregnant, you might just get a visit from that young lady, Miss Carrie. But the most disturbing part is that it's now the second animal on this list that can do damage to your mental. This disease deteriorates your body to the point where just opening your eyes or feeding yourself can leave you exhausted. It doesn't help that one of the neurological symptoms is that it completely wrecks your sleeping schedule, causing insomnia at night and borderline narcolepsy during the day. That fun little fact is exactly how this disease got its name, African sleeping sickness. And that's not the only symptom either. Victims can experience drastic shifts in personality, usually resulting in uncontrollable episodes of aggression. This fly factory resets your personality, and the infected can become such a danger to themselves and others that there have been instances of victims being tied to poles where they can't hurt anybody. It's a debilitating disease, and one that slowly breaks you down until you eventually slip into a coma and never wake.
Nah, there's no good God. There's no good God. There's no way. There's no way. Like why does that exist? What's the point? What is the point of that? How does that benefit society? Like, explain, bro. Come on. Explain. That don't add up. That don't add up.
Wake up. The only good thing is that statistically, the chances of becoming a hashtag after being bit are incredibly low, since the tsetse fly has to already be infected. But my mother would have raised a lie if I said that about the bite of the last animal on this list. There might not be a worse death sentence in nature than the one hiding in this picture. And that's because crocodiles have spent the last 200 million years perfecting the art of canceling life subscriptions. With the highest recorded bite force of 3,700 pounds per square inch, getting assaulted by a croc is like getting hit with a sledgehammer with teeth with enough power to tear flesh and crack bone. Not even the murderous hippo can match that force. The crocodile's hunting strategy involves sneaking up to its victim underwater while completely undetected, which they can do because nature put their eyes on the top of its head, giving them a disrespectful stealth factor. Those are all eyes, and they're all looking at you. Once they're close enough, they slam about the stealth factor. Those are all eyes, and they're all looking at you. Once they're close enough, they slam about 60 razor-sharp cones for teeth into their prey and then drag them into the water where they have a home court advantage. Especially since a crocodile teeth into their prey and then drag them into the water where they have a home court advantage. Especially since a crocodile can hold its breath for over an hour. And as if death by reverse baptism wasn't enough, crocodiles have possibly the most unforgiving finishing move of any animal. The crocodile's death roll is designed to rip their struggling prey apart into easier to swallow chunks of flesh. I'm not gonna let you see what just happened to that zebra, just know its neck is now non-existent. And with jaws like a snare trap, surviving a fade with a prehistoric homicide gecko usually involves negotiating an arm or a leg. The crocodile's hunting method is so successful that they've been around for hundreds of millions of years and barely had to change their playbook. But the most haunting thing about them is that they believe in the worst type of equality. Jaguars don't see humans as prey, and they're just as likely to run away from an encounter. For all its venom, the bumsling's first choice is always pacifism. For a crocodile, anything that makes enough of a disturbance in its waters can get put on a list. And out of all crocodilians, it's the Nile and saltwater crocodiles that have been known to attack humans with enough regularity to be classified as man-eaters. And because splashing only excites them, a good number of victims are small children that unintentionally play in its dining room. Crocodiles pack up about 1,000 people a year, and as we continue to encroach on their space, that number is only gonna get higher. And that's gonna do it for this video. Honestly, if this video doesn't get demonetized, I'd be more shocked than Pikachu, so my Patreon's gonna be in the description. Being a patron earns you access to videos before I post them, along with exclusive content you might not find anywhere else. We're still talking about animals here, it's not that kind of exclusive. But again, it's totally fine if you're not in a position to give money. It's not fine if you don't subscribe though, don't think that's okay. Hit that sub button or I'll auction your body to the highest bidding crocodile. I have the means, the resources, and the lack of morality to make it happen.
Don't do that, don't do that.
To make up for that blatant threat on your way of life, here's Beaver Serotonin.
Oh, he lit. I'm gonna have a party when he get home. I don't know what to do all that. Yeah, that video was lit. It was alright. I'm a little sleepy though. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I just got off work. Nonetheless, if you made it this far, appreciate you for watching. If you like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content, and have a nice day.